lot of underprivileged castes within the OBC have not got any significant benefit because of these reservation policies. So each group will say, look, I constitute 12% of the state's population, but I am only having this much reservation, so give me more. A delimitation process based on the census is definitely going to happen. But I'm sure there are many Muttarayar and others and so many other backward castes who may not have had adequate representation. In the northern belt, the one-year caste is a dominant caste. In the southern belt, the Devar caste is the dominant caste. In the western belt, the counter caste is the dominant caste.
Hello everyone, welcome to TheFederal. The center finally scheduled for conducting census along with caste enumeration in 2 phases. To discuss on this, I am joined by the former IAS officer R. Rangarajan. Thank you so much, sir, for joining with us in this special occasion.
Thank you for having
The
me.
central government announced that 2027 census will include caste enumeration for the first time since 1931. So what are the key administrative and policy objectives behind this decision, and as well as how do you see it addressing socioeconomic inequality in India, sir?
Yeah. As you rightly said, the census, the central government had announced few months back, I think last month, if I'm not wrong, that they will enumerate the castes as well. In fact, census started in India, the formal census, the decennial census every 10 years. It started in 1891. And till 1931, caste was also recorded. But after independence, we have been enumerating only scheduled caste and scheduled tribes as part of the census, whatever be the reason for that. And there has been a growing demand for including caste data because everything else, scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, is actually fully enumerated. As per the 2011 census, I think close to 16% of the country's population is scheduled caste, around 8.5% is scheduled tribe. So there is a data available with respect to the actual number of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. But the OBCs, which form the chunk of the population in our country, the Mandal Commission, through some estimates, said that close to 52% of the country consists of backward classes. They had various criteria for determining that, but that is the number that people often quote. That Mandal Commission had estimated 52%, but it was not a census; it was just an estimation. So now this census hopefully will have a drop down for, let's say, around 3,000, 4,000 castes, and then it becomes easy to enumerate that. Now, why is it important? It is important for 2-3 reasons. First, lot of claims about caste being backward within the backward classes, some of them being discriminated against in a big way. Now, all this is based on just claims by groups, right?
There's no data.
Only when you have actual data, you will know what is the composition, and let's say be it in educational benefits or be it in employment benefits. So which group has got how much, whether there is any need for subclassification, how do you subcategorize so that the backward or the more underprivileged within the backward caste can get the due share in the reservation policies of the government. All this, only what can be measured can be managed, right? So only if you have data, you can manage all these things. So definitely this will have a huge impact, hopefully in a positive way, in addressing these issues. Now, what are the challenges?
But what logistically and operational challenges do you foresee?
No, there is not going to be any,
because in complex India has such a complex social structure.
Yeah. So I think logistics wise, it's not going to be a problem because the same enumerators who are going to go door to door, and this time it is all going to be digital. The real issue from a society point of view, which it can throw up, is that once this data is available, then it is going to be a case of bargaining socialism, right? Or bargaining social justice. So each group will say, look, I constitute 12% of the state's population, but I am only having this much reservation, so give me more. So, we are a country with a huge population with limited opportunities and resources. That caste identity and the demand based on caste may go up substantially once this data is out.
Opposition parties have labeled the delay in 2027 census timeline as the government strategy to gain electoral advantage in 2029 by accessing it caste data very early. So, how do you see this allegation by opposition parties, as well as how to prepare the census and political concern raised by the opposition?
Yeah. So more than the caste details being used for political purposes, and I read some reports that the caste-based data may be available only after 3 years, right? After it is
Yeah.
analyzed, after it is verified, and all that stuff. So and politically, it may suit the ruling government also to ensure that they don't get into a quagmire, or so to speak, a minefield with
It's
that
all are
caste data.
digitalized, no? They can access, I think,
Yes,
very
yes, yes.
quickly.
They can do that. They can do
Most
that, but they
time
can
to.
also delay it. They can delay it by 1 or 2 years, and then have a more robust data. But the more serious apprehension, which all southern states, the smaller states of North India, the northeastern states should have, is that this census, by being having the reference date as March 1st, 2027, can be technically seen as having been conducted after the year 2026. Now, the last delimitation happened in 1971 based on the 1971 census. The number of seats in the Lok Sabha, 543 seats, is based on 1971 census. After that, during the emergency, in order to control the population, they said we will not reallocate it till the year 2000. And
Mhm.
when we reached the year 2000, they said still this population stabilization has not happened.
Not-
So we will postpone it by 25 more years, and it will be based on the first census to be conducted after 2026.
But the scenario has not changed, no, so far.
No, no, I understand. So if COVID had not happened, the 2021 census would have happened on time. So this issue, we would have grappled it only based on the 2031 census. But
Mhm.
COVID has gone. After that, there was no explanation why the census was delayed. It could have been held in 2023, it could have been held in 2024. But now, because of this caste data also being included in it, I think the government will have a very valid reason to say that this preparatory work will take 1 more year. What is required is a delimitation process based on the census is definitely going to happen because it is the first census after 2026. That delimitation is required even for identifying the one-third women seats, but that is there is
Mhm.
a consensus in that, there is no issue in that. Now, what all the southern states, not just the southern states, the smaller states of north like Punjab,
Mhm.
Himachal, Haryana, the northeastern states, which will all be affected if it is only based on population, then the parliament size, Lok Sabha size may go up to
Yeah,
848. But in
delimitation
that
you're talking
increase,
about. Yeah.
yeah, but in that increase, Uttar Pradesh seats may go from present 80 to 143. Bihar seats may go from 40 to 79. Rajasthan seats may double from 25 to 50. Madhya Pradesh seats may go from 28 to some 54 or 55. So it will
Mhm.
almost double in all the bigger North Indian states, whereas Kerala will remain the same 20. Tamil Nadu may go from just 39 to some 49 or 51, maximum 12 seats
Yeah.
increase. Karnataka may
Mhm.
go up just by 4 to 8 seats.
No,
Combined Andhra
in
by just
many South states, or including Tamil Nadu, they want to continue with the pro rata. That they want
no,
to ensure that
no, again, yes, pro rata. When you say pro rata, not the pro rata share which is there at present.
again
Yeah.
that southern states and political leaders from southern states are again asking many questions regarding this announcement. Why there is no data or information regarding delimitation plan? Why there is no detailed information about how we are going to conduct this caste census? So there is no answer for it. So how you see this allegations?
No, no. See, the allegations. There are a lot of merit from a constitutional, from administrative angle in it. It is also politically motivated. So I will not get into the politics of it. But again, when we keep reiterating the southern states, that is why I always mention that it is not just the problem of the southern states. So it is not a south versus north divide. It is the problem of southern states which have controlled their population, and also smaller states of North India, right? So I think there has to be a consensus on this. I have written articles on this in the Hindu and all couple of times. I strongly feel that probably one way to address it is just like in the US, where they have frozen the number of seats for the last 100 years. The
Correct.
435 seats in the House of Representatives remains the same 435 from 1921 till date. In 1921, the population of US was 9 crores. Today it is 36 crores. It has become
Mhm.
4 times the population, but the number of seats remains the same. So
Okay.
again, parliamentarians primarily do legislative work. They do laws in the parliament for the entire country. So my strong opinion in this is always, in order to increase the democratic representation, we can always increase the number of MLA seats.
That MK Stalin, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, also giving voice, saying that center is delaying the census. They're going to start only by 2027. He also accusing that why huge delay in starting, and also he's convey the fear of saying that Tamil Nadu going to lose uh, many. I mean, strong voice if delimitation is happen in according to what the BJP is promoting now. So, what's your take on this fear of southern, especially the Tamil Nadu?
No, so as I was just explaining, it's a valid fear, right? So even now, the Tamil Nadu MPs for the last 10 years have been have not been part of the ruling government, right? That is due to political differences amongst parties. So leave that aside. But the point is, the southern states put together today, right, have what, 40 plus 20, 60 plus another 70. There are Karnataka, Andhra, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Kerala, and Puducherry put together have around yeah, 40, 60, 60 plus 70, 130 seats out of 543, right? So now that itself is technically what, just about 30% of the
Mm-hmm.
seats, less than 30% of the seats. Now,
Okay.
if only based on population, if the number of seats are increased, and as I told you, out of 848, if the share, it is estimated that if it is purely done on population, the percentage of seats for the southern states, which now stands at probably 26 or 27%, will come down by 5 more percent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, to that extent, your political voice will be down.
The 2027 census aims to provide a data for a targeted welfare program, as we discussed. As a public policy expert, how do you think the caste-based data can be used to reform the reservation policy and address the disparity in education and healthcare and employment?
The Rohini Commission report, as I told you, it has not been made public, but there are a lot of media reports which suggest that the Rohini Commission had recommended that a strong case for sub-classification or sub-categorization within the OBC community, because a lot of underprivileged castes within the OBC have not got any significant benefit because of these reservation policies. So the advantage of this caste census is that the most underprivileged will have a better voice. The problem that this caste census can throw up is that the dominant castes within the backward class will try to emphasize or will try to establish their dominance even more, because they will say, look, my number is so much and you're treating me like this. So that becomes a challenge politically
Can
and
you
socially.
just give some example relatively in Tamil Nadu?
No, no. So, for example, in Tamil Nadu, let's say, no, there may be, let's say there are 100, 200 backward castes in our state, right? But many of these backward castes, and I cannot immediately think of some names, but I'm sure there are many Muttarayar and others, and so many other backward castes who may not have had adequate representation, be it in employment or be it in education. So then this data will try and ensure that, let's say some caste is 5%, but they don't have adequate representation in education or in employment. So then within the OBC or MBC reservation in Tamil Nadu, they should be given higher weightage. That is the advantage or the good thing that can come out of this. But at the same time, the political issue that can come out is, let's say, in the northern belt, the one-year caste is a dominant caste. In the southern belt, the Devar caste is a dominant caste. In the western belt, the counter caste is a dominant caste. And their population percentage may come up in actual number, right? People claim that one year's
Yeah.
constitute 18% of the population. Let's say they constitute 15 or 16%. Same percentage for Devar, same percentage for counters. But I'm only saying that again, see, because we are a country with limited opportunities, you cannot say that some group is totally superbly represented. They will also have their grievances. Look, I am 15%, but I am only 3% of the actual employment opportunities that have been got. So within that 20%, the 10.5% reservation that was given for the 1 year, which has been struck down by the High Court and the case is pending in Supreme Court. Now, that group may say, look, I deserve this 10.5%. But out of
Correct.
20% MBC reservation, if 10.5% is given to just one group, then the others will feel offended, isn't it? The balance 75% or 80% of the population cannot fight for just the 10%. So so that is a challenge that will come up, but it has to be addressed.
And some reports saying that center is eye on implementing one nation, one election after the census. So, what's your read on this reports?
No, so see, one nation, one election. I I'm very skeptical about it taking off because it will require constitutional amendments. It has to be ratified by more than 50% of the states because it affects the federal setup. The census will affect the delimitation process, but I don't think that it will have any bearing on one nation, one election. Right? One nation, one election will require a lot of changes, lot of political consensus, and I really don't think that it is a major issue. I mean, it may be a political requirement for the ruling government now, but being a federal country and being a parliamentary democracy, the existing setup is a robust setup and it can continue as such. And I don't think this census will have any will affect the demand for one nation, one election in any particular way.
No, it is a process. No, on census, on once the delimitation, they will after
No, no,
delimitation they
that
will
doesn't
go for.
matter. No, but that doesn't matter. I mean, delimitation will only determine the number of seats. It will not determine the schedule of the elections. The
Yeah.
schedule of the elections to be changed will require other constitutional amendments for which a bill has been introduced.
No, I'm saying it's
So
a
it is now in
process.
the,
Is on
yeah, yeah.
the
But that is now in the
petition
back
saying is
burner
on
now.
process.
Yeah, yeah. That is in the back burner now. I don't think that will be taken up now.
And the opposition has raised the concern about the government withholding caste data until 2029 elections. So, particularly, how can the government build a public trust on the census, ensuring the transparency in the data collection and as well as the publication?
No, so see, there's no data at present, to withhold. Now, this data will be collected only based on this census, right? And that has to be done in a proper manner. Subcaste data will also be gathered as part of this census exercise, right? So that will be gathered in 2027, and then that has to be properly analyzed and released within 1 year or so. So we'll have to trust the process. We'll have to wait and see. But first, the data has to be collected, isn't it? And that will happen only based on the census.
How could you also touch upon the women reservation bill, because whether the census will be allowed to take off 2029 general election? No.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think if this census happens as planned in the month of March, I mean, with the reference date as March 2027, the data can be compiled because this is all online. It can be compiled before end of March, in end of 2027, and you have one full year 2028 to do the delimitation exercise, including identifying one third seats for women. And I'm hopeful that 2029 general elections will have the one third women reservation implemented.